Hi, I'm Mindy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my wrap-up for April, and I read 7 books. The first book that I read in April is The Shadow Rising, which I started quite a while ago, but I finished the last 300 pages the beginning of April. This is the 4th book in the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. This book started off really strong, and I really loved most of this book. I especially liked Perrin's story throughout this book. He is one of the side characters and part of the crew that is traveling with Rand, but he goes on his own journey in this book to the 2 rivers where he and Rand are from. And he shows just how cool his character is. I loved his story in this book. And Rand and Matt have a very exciting part of the story as well. They find out more about what the Wheel of Time actually is, which was very exciting. I loved it. However, the 300 pages, the last 300 pages that I read in April were a total slog. They were so hard to get through, and I don't know if I just wasn't in the mood for this book or what happened, but it was no longer interesting or exciting. So what's up with that? I don't know. I don't know if it's just me, or am I just not really into this book anymore? So I think I'm going to not continue on with this series for at least a while, and we'll see if I crave picking it up again at some point. Next, I finished the audiobook for The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson, which is a religious horror book with a whole lot of religious imagery, both Christian type imagery as well as witchcraft type imagery. Also fantastic setting descriptions when they go into dark, creepy woods. It has, all of the spooky atmosphere that is wonderful. I really enjoyed my time with this book. It's about a fantasy-based place, but seemed quite a bit like they live their lives like the Pilgrims, or like when the Salem witch trials were going on. Very religious community with a religious leader that has too much power, in my opinion, because he used it for not the greatest things at some points. And there's also really great witchy vibes in this book as well. So if you don't mind a whole lot of religious imagery, this book was atmospheric and wonderful. It was not too grotesque or horrific or anything like that, just wonderful spooky vibes. And it reminded me quite a bit of the feel of the movie The Witch. So if you have seen that movie, that's kind of the vibe that I got from The Year of the Witching. The next book I finished was an ebook, and that was Parasite by Darcy Coates. This is another book that is not too horrific, but was so much fun. A really great alien horror novel. It seemed more adventurous than horrifying, but there were some very nasty aliens that could look like any living thing or person. So they were pretty much body snatchers. And the action started right away in chapter 1, and it pretty much continued all the way through. Very exciting, adventurous, fast-paced, and fun, with characters that were very interesting and, I might say, unforgettable. So overall, I really, really enjoyed Parasite. Next, I finished The House Next Door by Anne Rivers Siddons. And this is about a haunted house that is not an old spooky manor. This is a brand new construction, brand new built house that somehow is causing a lot of people a lot of harm that go into this house, including the person who built it, everyone who lives there, people that visited from time to time. They all could be affected by this house, and it was causing some mayhem, let me tell you. So for a different kind of haunted house, I would recommend The House Next Door. And we have Bleeding Edge by Thomas Pynchon, and this is unlike anything I've ever read before, and I really liked it. This is what I call this, a historical fiction. I think it's a historical fiction, but it is based in 2001, so not very far back in the past, but it is a look. It kind of starts in the spring of 2001 and goes through the fall of 2001. And it is a really great picture of time and place. So that year in New York City, during the decline of the dot-com boom, and then goes through to the tragic events of 9/11 and the aftermath of that in New York City. This story has a main character, Maxine, who we get introduced to, and I connected with this girl like from the very first chapter, and the writing was really witty, humorous in a way, and that just hooked me in right away. I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. I like it. And she works as a fraud investigator. So she's investigating a recently defunct .com company, looking for fraud in this company. And it goes through a lot of interesting characters that she talks to while investigating that were only in the book for a very short time, but are very, very memorable. Every single one of them. It was kind of a delight to read. Her progress through investigating and what she finds out is all really super interesting. At least it was to me. This book might not be for everyone. I also really enjoyed that it was taking a look at 2001 as a whole year. That 2001 is like, that's my year. That's my year. I was a senior in high school and then a freshman in college. The pop culture, the nerd culture references, the current events, all of these things are very clear in my mind, and that was when I was most up on such things as pop culture in my life. So it was all very accurate and really hit me in the nostalgia spot just right. So those are the reasons that I really enjoyed Bleeding Edge. If anyone has read this book, I'm curious what you thought of it. I'd love to talk to someone about it. I think I could go back and read this 2 or 3 more times and I would get more and more out of it. It's one of those books. So yeah, liked it a lot. 5 stars. Next, I finished Pet Sematary as an audiobook by Stephen King, and I gave this one 5 stars as well. Those are my 2 standout books for the month. Pet Sematary is now my second favorite Stephen King book behind The Drawing of the Three. I mean, The Stand could still take the number 1 spot. I think that's a possibility. I'm going to finish it in June. Can't wait. But Pet Sematary is all about loss, death, grief, the loss of innocence, finding out about death as a child, just so many things in the realm of death that are covered in this book, as well as some unbelievable creepy scenes and imagery that was fantastic. The Year of the Wishing and Pet Sematary both had amazing imagery and atmosphere this month. So they win the prize for that for sure. And the last book that I finished for April is Beyond Reach by Karen Slaughter. This is the last book in the Grant County series, which means I finally finished a series this year. Hooray! It's my goal to finish 5 series, and I have finished 1. So I'm on my way. Now I'm going to be working through the Witcher series. I am listening to book 2 right now, Beyond Reach. All of these books have really interesting cases and personal story within the main characters as well. This one was no different. Very interesting case, and a lot happens with the main characters, and I really love this series, even if it made me very sad during this book. So those are the 7 books that I read in April. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. And if you like this video, you could hit like and subscribe. And I'll be back every Tuesday, Thursday, and sometimes Sunday with another book-related video. Thanks. Bye.